chapter 11 through 13. Description. This is what I'm afraid of. So, oh boy. Let's hope that we don't have any trouble. Chapter 11. The Dueling Club. Harry woke up on Sunday morning to find the dormitory blazing with winter sunlight and his arm reboned but very stiff. He sat up quickly and looked over at Colin's bed, but it had been blocked from view by the high curtains Harry had changed behind yesterday. Seeing that he was awake, Madame Pomfrey came bustling over with breakfast tray and began bending and stretching his arms and fingers. All in order, she said as he clumsily... Child? Child, no. Get off the table! Ah! Made me lose my page. You're not allowed on the table, Missy. You need to go to bed. No, don't even think about it. No protests. You think I'm murdering her? Just stopping her from doing things. Brat. Okay. Oh, where was I? Literally lost my place. All in order, she said as he clumsily fed himself porridge, left-handed. When you finish eating, you may leave. Harry dressed as quickly as he could and hurried off to Gryffindor Tower, just desperate to tell Ron and Hermione about Colin and Dobby, but they weren't there. Harry left to look for them, wondering where they could have got to and feeling slightly hurt that they weren't interested in whether he had his bones back or not. As Harry passed the library, Percy Weasley strolled out of it, looking in far better spirits than last time they'd met. "Oh, hello, Harry," he said. "Excellent flying yesterday. Really excellent. Gryffindor has just taken the lead for the House Cup. You earned 50 points. You haven't seen Ron or Hermione, have you?" said Harry. "No, I haven't," said Percy, his smile fading. "I hope Ron's not in another girl's toilet." Harry forced a laugh, watched Percy walk out of sight, and then headed straight for Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. Sorry, that's me moving. I'm just kind of, I think James is very close, so ADHD child is making me move a lot. I'm sorry. I will try to, just bounce the leg, maybe? I don't know. Anywho's. Right. He couldn't see why Ron and Hermione would be in there again, but after making sure that neither Filch nor any prefects were around, he opened the door and heard their voices coming from a locked stall. "It's me," he said, closing the door behind him. There was a clunk and a splash and a gasp from within the stall, and he saw Hermione's eyes peering through the keyhole. It's actually, we're recording on our laptop, so... He saw Hermione's eyes peering through the keyhole. "Harry," she said, "you gave us such a fright. Come in. How's your arm?" "Fine," said Harry, squeezing into the stall. An old cauldron was perched on the toilet, and a cracking form under the rim told Harry that they had lit a fire beneath it. Conjuring a portable waterproof fire was a specialty of Hermione's. "We'd come to meet you, but we decided to get started on the Polyjuice Potion," Ron explained as Harry was with difficulty locked the stall again. "We've decided this is the safest place to hide it." Harry started to tell them about Colin, but Hermione interrupted. "We already know. We heard Professor McGonagall telling Professor Flitwick this morning. That's why we decided we'd better get going." Riz, no, you can't. It's very big. I don't think you could make it fit in the cup unless you broke it. And then we'd ask you to buy us a new computer. Although we do need a new computer. I need to stop talking and just read. Really? That was not... I'm so sorry. That was not a challenge, child. Okay, I keep losing my place. That's why we decided we went. The sooner we get a confession out of Malfoy, the better, snarled Ron. Do you know what I think? He was in such a foul mood temper after the Quidditch match, he took it out on Colin. There's something else, said Harry, watching Hermione tearing bundles of knotgrass and throwing them in the potion. Dobby came to visit me in the middle of the night. Ron and Hermione looked up, amazed. Harry told them everything about Dobby had told him, or hadn't told him. Hermione and Ron listened with their mouths open. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened before, Hermione said. This settles it, said Ron in a triumphant voice. Lucius Malfoy must have opened the chamber. Don't even think about it, child. Salem, no. Salem? Don't give me that I wasn't going to do anything. Look, I told you we were going to do something. You are a brat. Shoot! I am so sorry about the interruption. Don't peek at me like you were doing nothing. We can't do anything without you. This is just chaos. I'm so sorry. Really? Really? Not on the computer. Give me a second. I am so sorry. I am really sorry about this. You? Missy? Sorry. Ow. Okay. Just please stay settled. Thank you. Lucius Malfoy must have opened the chamber when he was at school here, and now he's told dear old Draco how to do it. It's obvious. Wish Dobby told you that. What kind of monster's in there, though? I want to know how come nobody's noticed it sneaking around the school. Maybe it can make itself invisible, said Hermione, prodding leeches to the bottom of the cauldron. Or maybe it can disguise itself, pretend to be a suit of armor or something. I've read about chameleon ghouls. You read too much, Hermione, said Ron, pouring dead lace wings on top of the leeches. He crumpled up the empty lacewing bag and looked at Harry. So Dobby stopped us from getting on the train and broke your arm. He shook his head. You know what, Harry? If he doesn't stop trying to save your life, he's going to kill you. The news that Colin Creevey had been attacked and was now lying as though dead in the hospital wing had spread through the entire school by Monday morning. The air was suddenly thick with rumor and suspicion. The first years were now moving around the castle in tight-knit groups, as though scared that they would be attacked if they ventured forth alone. Ginny Weasley, who sat next to Colin Creevey and Charms, was distraught, but Harry felt that Fred and George were going the wrong way about cheering her up. They were taking turns covering themselves with furs or boils and jumping out at her from behind statues. They only stopped when Percy, apoplectic with rage, told them he was going to write to Mrs. Weasley and tell her Jeannie was having nightmares. Meanwhile, hidden from the teachers, a roaring trade in talismans, amulets, and other protective devices was sweeping the school. Neville Longbottom bought a large, evil-smelling green onion, a pointed purple crystal, and a rotting newt tail before other Gryffindor boys pointed out that he was in no danger. He was a pureblood, and therefore unlikely to be attacked. They went for Filch first, Neville said, his round face fearful. And everyone knows I'm almost a squib. In the second week of December, Professor McGonagall came around as usual, collecting the names of those who would be staying at school for Christmas. Harry, Ron, and Hermione signed her list, and they had heard the Malfoys were staying, which struck them as very suspicious. The holidays would be a perfect time to use the Polyjuice potion and try to worm a confession out of him. Unfortunately, the potion was only half finished. They still needed the bicorn horn and the boomslang skin, and the only place they were going to get them was from Snape's private stores. Harry privately felt he'd rather face Slytherin's legendary monster than let Snape catch him robbing his office. What we need, said Hermione briskly, as Thursday afternoon double potions lesson loomed near, is a diversion. Then one of us can sneak into Snape's office and take what we need. Harry and Ron looked at her nervously. I think I'd better do the actual stealing, Hermione continued in a matter of fact tone. You two will be expelled if you get into any more trouble, and I've got a clean record. So all you need to do is cause enough mayhem to keep Snape busy for 5 minutes or so. Harry smiled feebly. Deliberately causing mayhem in Snape's potions class was about as safe as poking a sleeping dragon in the eye. Potions lessons took place in one of the large dungeons. Thursday afternoon lesson proceeded in the usual way. 20 cauldrons stood steaming between the wooden desks on which stood brass scales and jars of ingredients. Snape prowled through the fumes, making waspish remarks about the Gryffindor's work, while the Slytherins snickered appreciatively. Draco Malfoy, who was Snape's favorite student, kept flicking puffer-eye fish at Ron and Harry, who knew that if they retaliated, they would get detention faster than they could say unfair. Harry's swelling solution was far too runny, but he had his mind on more important things. He was waiting for Hermione's signal, and he hardly listened to Snape's pause to sneer at his watery potion. When Snape turned and walked off to bully Neville, Hermione caught Harry's eye and nodded. Harry ducked swiftly down behind his cauldron, pulled out one of Fred filibuster fireworks out of his pocket, and gave a quick prod with his wand. The firework began to fizz and sputter. Knowing he had only seconds, Harry straightened up, took aim, and lobbed it into the air. It landed right on target in Goyle's cauldron. Goyle's potion exploded, showering the whole class. People shrieked as flashes of the swelling solution hit them. Malfoy got a faceful, and his nose began to swell up like a balloon. Goyle blunted around, his hands over his eyes, which had expanded to the size of dinner plates. Snape was trying to restore calm and find out what happened. Through the confusion, Harry saw Hermione slip quietly into Snape's offense. Silence! Silence! Snape roared. Anyone who has been splashed here, come here for a deflating draft. When I find out who did this. Harry tried not to laugh as he watched Malfoy hurry forward, his head drooping with the weight of his nose like a small melon. As half the class lumbered up to Snape's desk, some weighed down with arms like clubs, others unable to talk through gigantic puffed up lips. Harry saw Hermione slide back into the dungeon, the front of her robes bulging. When everyone had taken a swig of the antidote, the various swellings had subsided. Snape swept over to Goyle's I am so sorry. Give me a sec. Swept over to Goyle's cauldron and scooped out the twisted black remains of the firework. There was a sudden hush. If I ever find out who threw this, Snape whispered, I shall make sure that person is expelled. I am so sorry. I'm really dissociated. Headache. Sorry, I'm really switchy. Oh boy. I think I might have to retry the stream. Oh boy. I'm so sorry for dodging and I didn't mean to switch. Anyways, oh, I see what we're doing. I mean, we're very switchy right now. I think we need to stop the stream. I'm really sorry, but we'll finish chapter 13 later. So, I'm so sorry. By the way, it's Draco. I think maybe I got triggered out. annotation. Thank you for watching whatever Carly read at this point. It was a very short stream, but very dissociated and twitchy at this moment. Thank you for watching. How do I stop the smuggle stream? Thanks, Carly.